Wall-E is widely regarded as one of Pixar's best films ever made, and arguably it triumphs over any other film. If you've never seen how special Wall-E is, then at first glance people may dismiss it as another cartoon adventure, and it's like about two robots that fall in love while trying to save the world or something like that, and it's Wall-E's voiced by Will Smith. But it is so much more than that. The first 2 minutes of this film are fantastic because it sets the stage so perfectly, and it sets the tone for the rest of the entire movie. Unlike Up. It opens with the endless stars of space, with Put On Your Sunday Clothes playing in the background, both the visuals and music sending chills down my spine, representing the magic of curiosity and adventure. It brings out the inner theater kid in me, which I never knew I had.
Out there, full of shine and full of sparkle. Close your eyes and...
That is quite something right there. The song is a triumphant call to action where it makes me feel that I just have to get out of my house and live a life. Oh yeah, and a minute later we find out that Earth is dead. We meet Wall-E, and his directive is cleaning up Earth's mess. Already a distinct tone shift from space representing the limitless world that we get to live in, while Earth is a polluted wasteland. The tone shift, however, represents how Wall-E feels. After a long day of cleaning up trash, he goes to his base and listens to a song about triumph and hope, especially the hope of finding someone to love. Who knows if he'll ever meet someone he can love. So basically, he meets Eve, and now she is Wall-E's directive. Are people gonna make curse jokes about that? Please don't. Just stop. Also, what the heck is a directive? From a robot's perspective, a directive is a direction or command or a program that they are told to do. In one of the first interactions between Wall-E and Eve, they talk about their directives. Wall-E is simple. Well, it's pretty simple. Eve's directive is classified, but we later find out that it's to find a source of plant life on Earth and bring it to the axiom. Alright, that's it. The movie's over. I just explained the directives. And Wall-E compacts trash, and Eve delivers the plant to the axiom. The end. Although both robots achieve their directives, we learned that in the beginning of the film, Wall-E's directive is so much more than picking up trash. If he sees something interesting, he's going to put it into a cooler, take it into his base, organize it accordingly. He also looks at other Wall-Es who have given up their directive, and he casually just steals their parts, and he keeps it in case his parts are damaged in the future, which we definitely do not have to worry about later in the film. He cares about his cockroach friend, giving it directions, giving it a home, and most importantly, he just wants love. He has Put On Your Sunday... that was cringe. He has Put On Your Sunday Clothes on playback at any time to remind him that his directive will not be finished until he finds a fellow robot. He holds his hands together, hoping that he will get to dance with someone, and his companionship with his cockroach further reinforces how much he wants a partner. Our definition earlier of directives are commands, but clearly a directive can be a human purpose. Meanwhile, Eve's directive is finding a source of plant life, and that isn't going too well. And I'm not sure about you, but I think she's taking it pretty well. During all of this, because Eve is Wall-E's directive, he's just trying to find ways to get her to notice him in a really funny montage. However, it doesn't work out too well. And you know, because of how she needs just a tiny little break after failure, oh yeah, and a sandstorm occurs because of climate change or whatever. Is it real? No. Wall-E takes her with him to his base. Stop it. Please, just stop. Stop. My gosh. They have genuinely heartwarming interactions, Wall-E being like, yo, check out this thing I found, and Eve being, oh, pretty cool, and then Wall-E's like, wait, the f***? And then, the heck? Wait, what? Wall-E also casually makes a move, basically like, hey, check me out, I'm dancing! Eve, however, does not see it as dancing together, but rather sees it as a fun activity. Clearly. The sequence on its own is brilliant. Wall-E is finally getting a chance to interact with basically his crush. He's fulfilling his directive, something that he's been hoping for who knows how long. Yet Eve doesn't see it like that, because remember, her directive is to find a plant life, and her directive is not Wall-E. Oh yeah, she just casually finds plant life, just like literally a few seconds later. Eve takes the plant life, she casually goes to sleep. Then Wall-E freaks out, you know, because he thinks Eve basically just died, but that doesn't stop his directive. And this really cool montage of Wall-E just accompanying her and doing whatever he can to wake her up is just really romantic. And he finally gets to hold hands with her. Well, kinda. However, nothing is able to wake up Eve, so Wall-E realizes that his directive is pointless and that he must return back to his original. Although he was committed, the directive of cleaning trash is more important. And remember, even though the acts of kindness didn't wake up Eve, he knows that Eve will still be there. It's a scene that's depressing, that even with so much love from Wall-E, nothing can change it, and he has no other choice but to give up. But if there's anything that shows how committed Wall-E is, even after not knowing what was going on, it's when a spaceship comes to pick up Eve to bring her to the Axiom. It's at that point that Wall-E decides to come with her no matter what. We as an audience know that nothing will stop Wall-E. Okay, they go to the Axiom, there's lots to see. Sweet pools, epic floating chairs, sporting centers, the color blue, milkshakes. It's essentially just a cruise ship for Americans. I mean, hey, I would like to come too. Eve is detected to have plant life, so she is taken to the command center to deliver it, while Wall-E chases her around. We meet Mo, a cleaning robot responsible for cleaning, everybody say it, dirt. No, it's foreign contaminant. My favorite interaction in the entire film occurs where Wall-E teaches a new directive to another robot. When Wall-E and Eve go to the captain's HQ, we meet Otto, the villain. We'll get back to him. The captain's directive is to leave the ship at all costs. And when a plant form comes to him, he opens the manual, and looky here, it appears that the plant is gone. Eve is sent by the captain to be checked, because clearly he thinks she's malfunctioning her directive. Wall-E and the captain meet up. Wall-E gives him dirt. The captain was like, okay, thanks, you can go with Eve to get cleaned. Then a very important scene happens for two reasons. Number one, we meet other robots. They're malfunctioning and cannot fulfill their directives, so therefore they're trying to be repaired. Remember that. Number two, Wall-E thinks Eve is being tortured. Very different things, I know. So Wall-E freaks the frick out. Eve is like, what the heck are you doing? And they escape with the malfunctioning robots. These halt robots come trying to block them, and they pose like a real big threat. And then Eve goes to the escape pods, and basically after that, she basically says, Wall-E, you're done. My directive is to get to the plant thing to the ship. You're in my way, go back to Earth. Wall-E doesn't want that, but before the argument continues, they find out that something fishy is going on. And oh, would you look at that? The plant, guys, it's the plant! Wall-E tries to get the plant. The pod sends out with Wall-E stuck inside. Oh yeah, the pod later explodes. Anyways, Wall-E survives as well as being able to get the plant. For the first time, Eve hugs Wall-E. Wall-E's like, oh yeah, I'll take that hug. Yeah, I'll take it. This is pretty nice. Yeah, I deserve this hug. Yeah, this hug is so good. God, yeah, this hug's so good. Like, oh my gosh, I enjoy. Wall-E's directive is fulfilled through this moment. However, we're not fully convinced about Eve. Eve hugs Wall-E because he got her the plant, which is her directive. But when Wall-E starts to fly around with the extinguisher, she dances with him, which illustrates to us that she's willing to act not for the directive of the plant, but for the directive of Wall-E. And we get like 2 minutes of pure beauty and cinema of Wall-E finally getting his dance and them having a chance to fall in love. Again, literal chills. Chills, so many chills right now. Back to the captain, he learns about Earth and realizes the importance of Earth, and he has a new directive to go back to home. Eve comes back with the plant, and the captain gets to see what Eve saw on Earth. Earth is just trash, not a single source of life, not a single ounce of happiness. And then it hits him. Is Earth even good enough? What about his previous directive? Does going back to Earth mean serving the best of the ship? But that means nothing to him. He still decides that Earth is the best course of action, and that his directive to go back to Earth still stands. And then comes our good old friend Otto. He is the widely most criticized part of this movie. Basically, you know Marvel villains? You know what's the difference between Thanos and the Doctor Strange villains? Well, we understand Thanos' perspective because he basically believes that the world is overpopulated. So therefore, randomly killing half of the planet is justified. And then with Doctor Strange villains, they're evil! I can't do the voice, I'm sorry. That's essentially Otto, a robot who is bad because he is just bad. But I think he serves as a great antagonist to the movie's message. Otto automatically follows his directives, which means that if the CEO of By and Large says that Earth is a no-go, that means that is his one and only directive, which means that plant must not be successfully delivered to the Axiom. My favorite visual is right here. Over the years, you can see how Otto gets closer and closer to the captains, which means he's getting closer to only following what the captain's directive is, which means he's becoming closer to following only any a single directive. I guess you could say he's a lost soul! Get it? Cause it was made by Pixar? Okay. No, just me. Okay. A lost soul is when someone fixates on a topic and can no longer focus on their own life, such as Minecraft. Otto has similarly fixated on the directive of automatically following orders, and that's all. He is the antagonist of Wall-E. If Wall-E had fixated on his directive about cleaning trash, he wouldn't even be on the Axiom. And Otto, following his one and only singular directive, he sends both Wall-E and Eve down the trash chute, thus ending their chances of delivering the plant. Before Eve gets violently sent to literal trash, Eve gets a chance to see how Wall-E cared for her when she fell asleep. And again, it adds on to her directive. If Wall-E would do anything for her, what does it mean that she delivers a plant to the Axiom? If Wall-E cared for her through all of this, that means he is now her directive. Oh my gosh, stop it. They fall down the chute, the Wall-E robots casually compact them, almost send them to out of space, and then Mo comes and saves them. Good job, Mo. We're proud of you. Eve is fine, but Wall-E is sadly damaged. Eve sees that his motherboard is broken and she immediately starts to look for a replacement. She finds some, but none of them work. Meanwhile, Wall-E finds the plant and gives it to Eve. Eve looks at it. After everything they've been through, after what seems forever on Earth, the shenanigans on the Axiom, all throughout adventuring with Wall-E, the plant is nothing to her. She tosses it. What started as her one and only directive to find the plant has now become Wall-E. But no, that's not it. It's not over. Wall-E hands her the plant. Wall-E loves Eve, so therefore completing her directive would mean completing his own. And by doing so, Wall-E reminds her that if they complete her directive, the Axiom will return to Earth, where she could repair him. And that's it. For the first time ever, their directives are each other. Wall-E showed to Eve that she shouldn't give up her purpose in life, instead when they could do it together. With their new directive, they go back up, and through teamwork with other robots working together, they achieve Wall-E and Eve's directive. They're finally able to send the plant to the Axiom and return to Earth. Eve's directive is now complete. After returning, now it's Eve's turn to complete Wall-E's directive. She repairs Wall-E, but at first he's lost. But Eve does what's best, and just like the beginning of the movie, Eve does nothing but accompany Wall-E with hope. And they hold hands. Well, kinda. And then Wall-E finally remembers who he was, and they can live happily ever after. Remember at the beginning of the video when I said how Wall-E's directive was just to pick up trash and that was it? It has become so much more than that, as he's chosen to love Eve. Even with the chance to abandon the plant so they could be together, he remembers that her directive is just as important. And he also realizes that by combining the directives, they can bring the plant and go back to Earth and live happily ever after. Eve's directive started as finding the plant, but now she had found Wall-E. Even when chosen to bring the plant to the Axiom, she realizes that none of it would have happened without Wall-E. And even when Wall-E disagrees, she later supports him, because we see that her directive has become to help Wall-E. Wall-E's and Eve's entourage of robots follow them around after being sent to be repaired for their flaws because they can't fulfill their directives for their society. Instead of being limited by their flaws, they instead change their directives where their flaws no longer define them and their directive does. Even the captain's directive started as serving for the good of the ship, but now he learned about Earth, and therefore he's serving the good of the ship by going to Earth. This film is my favorite because it personifies robots as genuine human beings like many other Pixar films. And how does it achieve this? Because the robots' directives change is exactly what makes them human. Remember Otto? Because he fixated on one directive is the reason why he is the antagonist, and he would be turned off by the captain. He never once considered the captain's directive of going back home, which led to his downfall. He was robotic and not human because he chose one singular directive. This film teaches us that directives are not commands, but they are purposes that we change and mix together. To illustrate this, we're gonna make directive soup. I'm just gonna say it. Our directive is simple: to live. The older we get, the more complicated living a life is. So when we're babies, that means like really stupid directives. Like their directive is to live. So if they want food, they cry. If they want milk, they cry. If they want attention, they like cry. And they start out as robots kinda, cause like they're programmed to survive, so they act accordingly, which is like crying excessively. Being a baby represents the base of our soup, or in other words, the broth is surviving, but then we become toddlers. Oh, let's get the random neighborhood kid directive here that we're supposed to be friends with them. These are noodles, by the way. And then let's get some kindergarten directives, where we start school and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of salt. It's okay, our soup's just really salty, just like kindergarten. And then we eventually start meeting friends, and let's get some friendship directives here. And, oh, let's get some, also, meanwhile with that, we get some hobby directives from learning from our friends. And then we go to middle school, and then we get feelings directives, gross. And then we go to high school, and then we get the realization that life just sucks so much directives. All during this, we're constantly mixing our directive soup, just mixing it all together, all of our directives combining. And then finally, we get adulting directives, like college, jobs, taxes, bills, health. What started as our broth and directive soup became so much more lively and better because we added so much. It was pretty good. Now imagine every taste in the world being combined into infinite combinations. Tastes that no one has tried yet. Discoveries to be made. So what the frick is the entire point? Do you know those signs of like Hallmark or something like that? Live, laugh, and love? Yeah, those signs, you know what I'm talking about. Living is just being happy and loving each other. Otto was being lonely and apathetic, and therefore he didn't live. Wall-E and Eve met each other and laughed together and loved together. So I guess the entire point is that life is the mixing of directives. You laugh with someone for the things you both do together, you love someone for the things you do for them, and you receive love for the things they do for you. By mixing directives together, you're living a fulfilling life. Talking to each other, opening up, being yourself unfiltered, doing favors for each other, showing affection, and just an overall sense that you are so much better because you are with someone that you love. If for some reason Eve wanted to send a plant to the Axiom, then Wall-E wouldn't hesitate to help. If for some reason my girlfriend wanted anything from me, I wouldn't hesitate to do it. And by all means, do not listen to me, a random 16-year-old who spilled soup all over his room. Just look at Wall-E and Eve, full of shine, full of sparkle, adventuring in a world where the light is as bright as the stars. Oh yeah, this film is a comedic masterpiece, and second of all, there's like no dialogue in the first half. Third of all, it talks about commercialism and environmentalism all at the same time while talking about directives. Oh my god, how is this movie so good? What the fuck?